Mitch, I know we're looking for a working title, but we cannot name the podcast The Business of Theater. You stack the aces, you load the dice.
Oh, a reference to a casino in Times Square. And you better be careful. You can get some very angry letters for
Yeah.
that.
I mean, technically, that's two titles. We could pick one of them, or we can reject both of them.
Right.
But yeah, there's been an uproar on that, so we'll definitely get into it. But welcome to the Business of Theater, a working title. I'm Darnelle Radford,
I'm Mitch Weiss.
and let's get down to business. Mitch.
Darnell.
Okay, my my viewpoint on this, right? I grew up in South Jersey. I grew up in Atlantic County. It's like 45 minutes to Atlantic City. Atlantic City was glamorous at one point and then slowly started to dry up in many ways. The area around the casinos is not desirable in any way.
Hmm.
It's like you have to go inside the casino to say you had a good time in Atlantic City. And but also, if you play a world building game, right, where you build a town or a city, um, you know, your commercial corridor does very well until you put like a mega mall or a casino or something like that in your town. And then it dries up all of that commercial because everybody's under the impression they can go to this one place to get everything they want. And even though that's a game, it's very similar to real life. And I feel like Times Square is about Broadway. It's also about those flagship stores in over there. And I don't understand. I want to know what they're thinking. Like, what does the M&M store or or all those shops think about a casino, pulling focus, you know,
Well, yeah, it's it,
in Times
and
Square.
it's not just pulling focus. Those of us of a certain age can remember when Times Square was extremely seedy,
Hmm.
and that's an understatement.
Adult cinema was
Not
all the rage.
adult cinema was on every corner
Yes,
live.
like liquor stores. Oh my
Uh,
god.
yeah, it was. I mean, when I was a teenager and came into Times Square, you were worried from the minute you stepped off the train.
Hmm.
It was just scary. And you had your friends, you protected yourself, and you could still go to the Broadway theater, but you were stepping around, over, and through just really seedy things, and lots of drug dealers and sex workers. And yay, it got cleaned up, and yes, you can still find all those things if you really want to.
Hmm.
But and I can't necessarily say I'm going to blame casinos for all of this, but Times Square goes through cycles. There will be a time that it dries up or has a little problem, whether it's horror like 9/11, where all of a sudden the theaters shut down and nobody's coming at all, or the
Hmm.
pandemic. We do have things happen. So, what is a casino going to add to that? It's going to dry up even faster. Um, so, there are also, by the way, two offers or two proposals for the Times Square area. One is directly in Times Square, in the middle of it. The other is a few blocks away toward Hudson Yards, which there is kind of an open space that they could buy and build a new building. That one has been promising low income housing and a gym and and all a new park around it. And I mean, the promises are going on forever. The one in Times Square,
Free DoorDash. It's ridiculous.
which is sponsored by Jay Z. So Jay Z is the face of that one, and the one in Times Square.
It's
So,
your
gee,
boy Jay Z.
we like Jay Z. We want to be friendly to Jay Z, but why?
Yeah.
There are lots of other places that need help and need a boost. Times
Right.
Square is not one of them, and Broadway is not one of them right now. Broadway's doing very well.
You know what's interesting about it? There really isn't any other part of New York City where it would make sense.
Why do you say that?
I don't. Well, think about it. I mean, where else would make sense?
Well, we already, first of all, New York does have casinos. We have one in Brooklyn. Actually, it's Queens, very close to JFK Airport.
Hmm.
And I have been there, by the way, and even worked with groups that have performed there, and they do fine. Um, there's a proposal for one up in Westchester County, which is just north of New York. There's one for the Bronx, which is starting to the gentrification in the Bronx and the stores that are moving in there and the neighborhood changes. It seems like that would be the perfect place to just like Brooklyn right now is really one of the highest priced neighborhoods boroughs of New York City,
Hmm.
rivaling, lost it. Uh,
Rivaling.
thank you. Manhattan, and
Hmm.
the rents there and the prices are now almost higher than Manhattan. That didn't used to be that way. The Bronx is now starting to look like that may happen. So
Hmm.
maybe that's the area we move to. And by the way, the Bronx has Yankee Stadium.
Hmm.
And so one of the proposals is to put it near Yankee Stadium. There's already a large group of people that travel there.
Hmm.
Mets City, uh, this City Stadium. Again, losing the names here. It used to be Shea Stadium. Now it's Citibank, whatever it's called. I apologize for the stupidity. That's in Queens near LaGuardia Airport. That's another place that they're proposing to build a casino. All of these could make sense. The question is, we just got congestion pricing to reduce traffic. And if you go near JFK or El LaGuardia or Times Square, where do these people come from? Are they all going to be on a subway? They're already overcrowded. Are
Hmm.
they going to have cars coming in?
That's
We
what I
just
wondered
we
about.
just did. There's no parking, and even if they build it under the building, which already exists, so I don't know how they're going to build it. And there
Hmm.
is parking there, by the way, but it's already full from the
Hmm.
Broadway people. All of these logistics, nobody's answering. So I don't know what they're thinking. There's
What's the
a
timeline?
Oh, that's a good question. I have no idea. I think right now, what I'm amazed at is supposedly, in order to even apply for a permit to build the casino, there's some multi $10 million that you need to put in with your application for the state, not the city. It's the state to give you the gambling license.
Hmm.
So all of these projects are already committing so much investment money, they're going to be desperate to make it happen. So what do you tell them? It was a bad idea to start with after they've already sent in that money to the state.
Hmm.
And of course, there are, I think, seven, I could be wrong with this number. I think there are seven different proposals, one in Times Square, one at Hudson Yards, which is near Times Square, and the others in other parts of New York. So which one makes the most sense? I don't know. I just think Times Square is the one that makes the least sense.
So, uh,
Sorry, Jay Z. I'd
yeah.
love to, um,
So reading,
we
so there was an article, not an article, but yeah, I guess there was an article with Fox 5 in New York that said that there are three licenses.
could be.
Of- The fight for one of New York's three downstate casino licenses has reached Times Square, where a $5 billion Caesar's Palace proposal is dividing the city. Hmm. You know,
You
it's
know,
crazy because every everybody fought so hard to keep casinos out of everywhere. You could only go to Vegas and Atlantic City for a long time, and now they're everywhere.
Well, and the thing that I wonder about between AI and online gambling,
Hmm.
who needs them? If you have a gambling habit, you don't have to leave your bedroom.
You
You
know,
know, I,
I think if this does happen, they have to get the Oceans team back, and they have
uh,
to do a heist in the new Times Square casino.
yeah,
They'll be like, well, I mean, George Clooney's kind of on board now because
yeah, that's it. Well, and I'll be honest with you. I told you that I just saw. I don't mean to disparage him because I think he's a wonderful actor. Wendell Pierce,
Mhm.
who was on Elsbeth on TV, but was on starred in Death of a Salesman on Broadway, did a miraculous job
He was in Suits too.
in Suits, right? He has come out online as a full supporter of Jay Z's
Yeah,
casino in Times Square, but he admits in his promotion or in his endorsement that he has been promised a lot of money for a number of black nonprofit theater companies that he wants to support. And
yeah.
so it's a full bribe, even if he's in favor of it otherwise. But at least he's upfront about it.
Hmm.
He has been told that if this thing happens, they will contribute money. Well, I know lots of other people who are getting bribe promises also. And here we go. And this is exactly what we all worry about. Who is controlling this stuff? Is this the underbelly of all crime? Or is this just real businessmen trying to do the best they can? I don't think any of us believe that, right?
Yeah.
So the question is ultimately everyone that I know on Broadway is against it because it's competition in an area that we don't need anymore.
This kind of reminds me, or it makes me think of A Raisin in the Sun.
Hmm.
How, Walter Lee wants to open this liquor store, which isn't good for the community, but
Yeah.
could make money,
Yeah.
and it's sort of the same thing. Like this casino, yeah, it does have the potential to make money. They're probably thinking like somebody's going to make the money. It should be us.
Right.
Jay-Z's thinking like, let's support our community. I did pull Wendell's quote from the article that Playbill Playbill posted last week. I think it was like August 6th. But the link's in the show notes. But he says, as an artist and advocate, I believe that the social justice movement of the 21st century is economic development and creating opportunities that sustain and uplift our communities, both on stage and beyond. It's
That's pure capitalism. We
yeah.
understand it. America's built on it, and I totally get that. The
Yeah.
question still is, does the location
Hmm.
dictate whether or not you're going to make money? And perhaps I would argue you don't need a specific location. Communities do have some say in what businesses come in and how they destroy other businesses.
Mm.
In New York City, we had Amazon was going to build a warehouse not far from LaGuardia Airport. The Congress representative from that district, because of her constituency, they fought against it and they won. So Amazon is not in New York City anywhere,
Mm.
right? So
Well,
instead they moved to Georgia, or I think that's where they
oh,
went.
well, they
And
mine data from every state, and
yeah,
so they knew where they were going.
so the
That's
question
insane.
is, the community had a say in it. And is that a stupid idea or a good idea? I don't know. I don't know that community.
Hmm.
But it would have brought jobs there. But maybe the people there already had jobs that they were very happy with. You don't know,
Well, I
right?
mean, like just on the photo that, like the image that is a part of that article, like how would that not pull focus? You know, It's like you, and they're not going to put it there and not think about how families come through Times Square. So they would have to have something for everybody in there. You
Well,
know, to have
Vegas
something.
Vegas does that. Donny Osmond's a big draw in Vegas.
Yeah.
This isn't a problem.
And
You
like,
know,
what
and
kind of shows would happen in there? Are they going to have shows? And if so, is one of them a Broadway show? Is this
right.
going to be a Broadway house?
I don't think they've gone that far in their thinking. Step
Mm,
is, can I get a license, and then we'll decide who we have to bribe for
mm,
real. Because right now they're making a lot of promises.
yeah.
I know people who have personally been promised money, and and I've read about other people, and nothing's in writing. So this
Mm.
is kind of like taking the spaghetti and throwing it against the wall and seeing if you can get the right kind of support.
It is
Uh,
interesting because when you think about this, you think about, everything was resisted until it happened, and then once it happened, it was like, how do we make this work to our advantage? And I think it's the same thing. Like here in Philadelphia, we were fighting a new arena that they wanted to build for the 76ers, and it was supposed to be downtown, like on Main Street, which is Market Street, and there was a whole lot of opposition, primarily from Chinatown, and our Asian community in Philadelphia was very much opposed to that because everything that happens on Market Street now, pulls focus from Chinatown. So like to have this arena where everything's all encompassing, you know,
mhm.
people wouldn't come out of there and want to go to Chinatown. They fear, and they went through all of this, but then ultimately decided to stay, at Patterson Avenue where all the stadiums are.
Well, and you're absolutely right. I mean, tons of proposals that involve massive change. Sometimes they happen after people are throwing a fit,
Hmm.
and they happen, and everything you were worried about didn't happen,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something good happened. So that part is always possible. The bottom line here is there will be casinos in New York. There's
yeah.
too much money to be made.
Hmm.
It's really just a question of where and for
Yeah.
what reason. And again, how much bribing has to happen for who wants what. And these different casinos are all competing with each other because they can't all get the permit,
See,
right? So that's the other issue. So
this is
what?
like the Gemini in me, where I'm thinking like, I always feel I only hear the opposition. I never hear like, well, if it's coming and we don't have a choice, how do we make it work? Like, no one's ever really arguing that if it were here, we would need these things. They're arguing no, not at all. And sometimes it's a hard battle because you're not providing an alternate.
Right. But
Like I feel
also,
like this would be, if they aren't shouting loud enough that these other locations are better locations. But of course, people who live near those locations are going to have concerns too.
so you're absolutely right, and that's why one I and you may notice this. I don't throw fits. I'm listening to all the arguments. My guts are that Times Square is the wrong place. You know, I live here,
Hmm.
and it is crowded. So my question is, that may be why they want the casino. It's already crowded. They have the
Oh yeah,
audience.
yeah. The audience is
But
there.
will they bring more people, and will they steal this audience from other places? My guts tell me yes, but I'm listening.
Hmm.
But if they don't make solid arguments with some evidence, I have to go with my guts,
Yeah.
right? And that's what we're all waiting to hear. I appreciate Wendell Pierce, even if I disagree with him. He's at least he's upfront about why he's promoting this.
Hmm.
My question is B, why don't we just support black nonprofit theaters anyway? Why does it have to be that you have to have a casino for them to be able to pay their actors and designers and directors a living wage, right? So,
I
or
mean,
that.
at least he's trying to see how it would make sense,
Mhm.
and what they're telling him sounds appealing, and so I understand that, but it's also like I mean, like I don't have I don't really have an opinion per se.
You better not. You don't live here. Go away.
But I'm just trying to understand both sides. Like, I I totally get why that's a prime location, but I'm also thinking about what people are in Times Square for, and that's the thing that I wouldn't want to be tarnished. Like, we remember when MTV had their studio overlooking Times Square, and how people would just stand outside waiting to see and perhaps wave at a
Right.
celebrity who was on TRL. And but
Now,
now it's a community. It's like a uh what do we call it? It's like this public space where all kinds of things happen. You walk through it and you're like, oh wow, there's a lot of performances, there's a lot of people just taking iconic photos and things like that. And perhaps that is enough.
well, okay, now you just brought me to history.
Uh-huh.
Let's go a step further. Um, where the Marriott Theater Marriott Hotel is, they had to destroy three Broadway theaters to build the
Mm.
hotel.
Oh.
At that time, this was in the 1980s, they were smaller theaters, but they were gorgeous. I worked in two of them. So this is in my lifetime. So producer Joseph Papp set up a protest using major artists from Chris Sarandon to Meryl Streep to Kevin Kline. All of them, what he did is he took, we had a thing at the time called the mobile theater, which was a trailer truck that opened up into a stage.
Mm.
He put that in front of two of the theaters that were set to be demolished. And 24 hours, 3 days in a row, celebrities came out 1 hour each and recited Shakespeare on that stage, on the street, in front of anybody who wanted to walk by, to prevent them from bringing the bulldozer, which was sitting on the street, to demolish the theater.
Mm.
72 hours straight, at the end of which everybody, all these actors, were arrested, put in a bus, brought over to the local precinct, of course, then released because it was all a publicity stunt. Meanwhile, everything made the front pages of all the local papers that we're losing our theaters.
Mm.
And guess what? They still were all demolished, and the Marriott Hotel is still there. Now, it happens. See, that's the other thing. Do I prefer that? Yeah, of course, that was horrible. We loved those theaters. The Marriott, by the way, has a big new theater inside it.
Wow.
One giant theater replacing three smaller ones.
Yeah.
Is that better? No. Is it worse? I don't know.
Well, it's like, can you do something intimate in there, or does it have to be a
No,
spectacle?
it's a
Huh.
spectacle, and they
Okay.
have big musicals that are there. So but that's fine. It's still a theater that's being used, and it's had a number of hits. But the issue still is that the protest happened. It was in the front page, and it still lost. The protest lost.
Mm.
This happened. It was horrible, in my opinion. So now, is that what this is about? Is this going to be, it doesn't matter how much we protest, it's going to happen, as you said, we adjust. At one point, Times Square was seedy and disgusting. Then it got cleaned up. Then it became spectacular. Chorus Line came in, all these wonderful shows. Everything was cleaned up. Then we lost three theaters. Then we have a big hotel there. Now we're going to the casino. It's things change. I
Mm.
hope we don't have it in Times Square. A casino would not make me happy. We're just, at the moment, we're overcrowded. You cannot walk down the street. in certain areas. I don't know. They've already gotten rid of um, the street part, the driving on Broadway, and turned it into a pedestrian plaza
Yeah.
because you couldn't keep the people on the sidewalks. There were so many people.
Mm.
So now the question is, we set all that up with our tax money, and now a casino's going to come in, and what are they going to do?
And will they get their numbers if all you can do, you can only walk in that area?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I want to see more of? Like we saw a reading of the frogs at is that Jazz at Lincoln Center?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they've got multiple floors of grand performance spaces, and I think that that's a great idea. Like there are cities trying to think about what to do with their office buildings, and they're trying to like convert them to residence, but it's hard because of how the plumbing is set up and all that. Um, but it would, a couple floors to to create some decent sized spaces or renovate old movie theaters.
Yeah,
Uh,
but
to
Darnell, they're not listening to us,
I know,
right? But
we don't value
let
the
me.
arts, like especially
We're,
at the
and we're
Broadway.
talking history. I walked on the Upper West Side of Manhattan before Lincoln Center existed. That is in our lifetime. Do you know how many homes they demolished to
Mm.
build Lincoln Center?
Oh yeah.
That area of town was a community,
Hmm.
and they demolished them. So, and of course, I was much younger, so I don't remember the politics of that.
Yeah.
But they had to take that land from people, and I don't know where they moved them or what they promised them. But it's a gorgeous space, and of course, the whole neighborhood changed. But I don't know what happened to the original people. Change happens. The
Hmm.
question is this something that we really want to fight with all our passion? And I know I'm going to get, I know I have some friends who are willing to almost die to prevent this from happening. They think the idea is the worst thing that has ever happened to the theatrical community. And they are screaming at the top of their lungs. I'm listening to them too, right? And they're smart people. So, it's not like they're just screaming.
Somebody there.
So it's a
Sounds sexy.
fascinating debate. I have no idea where it's going to go.
Yeah.
Um, I do think no matter what, and they may not agree with me up in the Bronx, but from my time visiting people up in the Bronx, I think that's a wonder. That area needs that one extra push to
Mm.
turn into as gorgeous a place as Brooklyn. Will that kick people out of their homes? That's always an issue,
Mm.
or their businesses. You bring in one Target or Walmart, and it destroys all the local
Yeah. All
businesses.
the yeah.
And we have prevented Walmart and Amazon from coming into New York City. We do not have them
Hmm.
because they want the local businesses to survive. On the other hand, we have Food Emporium, right? So what that may do to another, and we do have mini Targets,
Yeah.
but they're mini Targets.
Mhm.
So I don't know what this is going to do.
Yeah.
Maybe we
Stay
need a
tuned.
mini casino.
Watch this space.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway,
I don't know.
other. Go
I
ahead. Other.
I was just thinking like stereotypically like this. I don't know if this is common in every casino, but there's always this thought that there's a little bit of crime
Yeah.
that comes along
Well,
with them.
how? Let me ask you. How about if there was a casino built in your theater's neighborhood? What would you
Mhm.
think about that?
Well, I mean, I I don't like if they built a casino on the Avenue of the Arts. I think that that would
No,
be
your neighborhood where Theater
oh in
Exile is.
South Philly. It's
Yeah.
like it's so neighborhood there. I don't know that any kind.
So,
I know, but
yeah,
I don't know that any kind of surveying of the area that they would do would see like they would want to completely transform
yeah.
Italian Market, East Passyunk area if they had added a casino there.
But
But
don't you
that
understand? That's what they did at Lincoln Center. It is no. I was here. I know what it was. I
Mhm.
walked those streets, and they were brownstones that were. Some of them were dilapidated. Some they were very poor communities, as well as mixed with some middle class. And I walked through there. It was safe, as far as I knew. I mean, I may have been stupid, but I felt safe to me. But they had to get rid of all these people, and the whole area is upscale now and expensive with expensive restaurants.
it remind
So what do we do?
I was gonna say the thought of that reminds me of Biff Tannen's casino in Back to the Future.
Oh,
Just
ah,
it was so out of place too in Hill Valley. Like Hill Valley does not need this high rise casino, but that was the point. Like this is clearly wrong. I mean,
or
like
but
think
it,
about it.
it transforms neighborhoods, and you
Yeah,
have different kind. Very often they change the transportation into the area. All things change. In
yeah.
New York, you can't change the transportation. We have as the subways are what they are. And if you've ever been on West 42nd Street, the subway stop, which has I think 9 different subways that all converge there.
Hmm.
The platforms are crowded beyond anything during rush hour. You
Yeah.
cannot you can barely breathe. There are other times where it's less. What are they going to do? It just doesn't make sense. I mean, if I were voting and understanding change, so I'm not against change, but I would definitely vote against this. I just think it's the wrong thing. I'd love to be Jay-Z's friend, and to have some of the money that they want to throw around, but it just doesn't make sense.
If
And
uh if Trump wasn't president, do you think he would be vying for one of these licenses?
no, he's already bankrupted 2 casinos.
Hey, one
You're
on
right.
third.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he and his family already have money in one of them.
Mm,
Just as a silent partner.
yeah. Speaking
Mm.
of,
So
uh,
let's move on to the next topic, whatever
yeah,
it might
let's
be.
move on to the Kennedy Center honors.
Oh Lord, do we? Must we?
Yeah, madness.
Must? Oh
Well,
God,
so here's the thing, right? The honorees, there's nothing wrong with the honorees.
no, nothing at all.
It's like I feel like there are people out there who just want to hate the president so badly that they would not be happy with this lineup because of how he presented them.
Yeah,
You know, I was responsible for 98% of the choices. And then he talked about there were some wokesters that I didn't want to have in there and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but I was thinking about like, and everyone I've spoken to so far has been saying, like, I don't know, like, it feels like his involvement would just tarnish the value of the Kennedy Center honors in some people's eyes.
well, almost everything he does. Look, we're
Yeah.
a split country, although
Hmm.
quite honestly, and I think I've heard a number of people counter that with, "Oh, please give me a break. We
Hmm.
threw Chinese and Japanese uh, Americans in internment camps in World War II. We had the Civil War. We had. I mean, give me a break. This isn't the most divided this country has ever
Yeah.
been,
Yeah.
right? So this is just a different way of we're dealing with it. The shame is the Kennedy Center was a highlight of the entertainment world. It was the greatest honor, and we have yet to see. Um, it shouldn't be about one person. I think that's what the
Yeah.
difference is, and everything he does makes it about him.
Yeah. But that's why the
So
president shouldn't host it.
yeah,
The president is a guest. That's why they have the president's box, to be a guest there and not pull focus. There's a moment where you acknowledge and honor the president. but you don't need to be a part of the show. And why? Aren't you running the country? I'm too busy to be serving on a
Uh,
board and all that stuff.
we can't get even bothered with what's in his head. And if this is I'll be honest with you, this is the worst thing he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. Again, it's like you got to pull your punches, and you pick your battles.
Yeah.
And the only thing I hope is that there's still quality that goes into the Kennedy Center.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
mean, I really hope that the team who runs it continues to run it.
well,
You
a
know,
lot of them have been fired. I do know one of them.
I mean the show, the
Yeah,
honor.
oh, the show itself. I
Yeah.
see. Yeah. Well, and it depends. It's not like there aren't supporters of his that can't uh, do wonderful entertainment
Hmm.
production,
Yeah.
right? So, it's just a shame that that becomes the reason you get a job.
Yeah.
But there are many reasons people get jobs. So
Hmm.
this now just becomes a political one.
Well, and just to acknowledge the honorees, the
Yeah.
48th class of honorees includes Tony Award-winning actor Michael Crawford.
Which sounds, by the way, I think he's British. So why is that? That was my question.
Mm,
And he was the original Phantom of the Opera.
yeah.
He's
And
also been
apparently this
in.
is Trump's favorite musical.
It may be, but what does that have to do with anything he's done since then? And he's not particularly
Yeah.
an American icon.
Hmm.
So and please, nothing against Michael Crawford himself, but that was the strangest choice of everyone on the list for me.
Yeah. And then the rest of the list includes Grammy Award-winning disco pioneer Gloria Gaynor.
And again, my question would be Gloria, who I know, not personally, like we hang out, but I've worked with her.
Mm,
Wonderful singer, wonderful person. She has the disco hit of the century.
hmm.
I Will Survive. And the question is, and what else? What makes that then the ultimate, right? And that doesn't mean she's not wonderful. But if I look at Dionne Warwick, who has, 4,000 hits,
Hmm.
right, versus Gloria Gaynor, who has three that I'm
Mm.
aware of, and wonderful voice and all good. Again, nothing against her. I think she's delightful. But why is she at that level?
Hmm.
Next.
Yeah. Next is Kiss. Paul
Yeah.
Stanley, Gene Simmons, Tom Thayer, and Eric Singer.
Are they all alive?
Uh,
Yeah, do the research. But look, again, nothing against them,
yeah.
and very possibly. But I wonder if a younger generation knows who they are. They haven't performed in quite a while. But then
Mm,
again, it's not always about who the audience knows because they've
mhm.
had classical artists that young kids wouldn't particularly know. All
Yeah.
right. And certainly I know people under the age of 40 who don't know who Dionne Warwick is, and she's one. So, I get it. Not everyone has to be known by everybody. I think they're an interesting choice.
Yeah. And then George Strait, Grammy Award-winning country music
Right.
singer, songwriter.
I think he's probably the most logical one in the group,
Hmm.
just from the amount of people who know him and adore his work.
Yeah. And a- Academy Award nominated actor Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, well, he's an icon.
Yeah.
There's no question. You
And
know,
it's
uh,
funny he gets all this credit for Rocky, of course, but
yeah,
they
he's
forget
done a
about
lot of other movies.
they forget about Rambo.
Right? Yeah. Well, I'm saying he's done a lot of movies. He's known by a lot of people,
Hmm.
and he is an icon. So again, I don't question that, nor does my opinion matter.
I
Let
know,
me be really clear.
but that's why I was saying like these are notable people. They're worthy of these awards. So it's not about they're worthy of these honors. So it's not
Yeah.
about the selection. It's just everything. The thing is like it's so like somebody has to like say to him like all of this, some of the things you're doing are good things. It's the way you present them that makes everybody like
Mm-hmm.
think that they're not great things. It's like you don't have to talk about the wokesters that you said no to. You just could have you just said that I was personally involved in these choices, and all of these people speak to me in a way like there's art in my life too. Like he could have said anything like that, and we could have been like, stubbornly like begrudging, but he does love arts in his own way, and so we can appreciate that.
He likes being the center of attention, which, of
Mm,
course, I guess any president does,
yeah.
right? It's just how do
That
you
boy could
express
use
it
some Prozac or heavy drugs or group hugs.
anyway?
Yeah.
Mo- All right. Well, what else can we say? I do know that I'm hoping, like I said, my concern is that one person should not be the focus of the choice of what art goes into the Kennedy Center. There used to be a committee,
Yeah.
and it would be nice if there still was a committee
Hmm.
of people that the president and other people choose. So it's not one person's opinion. That's all.
Yeah.
But, nothing against the nominees or the honorees.
Yeah. Let's see. Just a little bit of culture. Uh, Audra McDonald,
Mm.
final bow as Mama Rose.
She
Uh,
made her point. She did
yeah.
her job,
Yeah.
and then we move on.
Hmm. But we get to see her in the Gilded Age. If you're watching the Gilded Age on HBO Max or whatever Identity Crisis the company is now.
We're not worried for Audra.
No.
She has given us so much. And here's the question: an honoree? You damn straight, Audra McDonald should be an honoree,
Yeah.
right? But she's already our hero on
Yeah.
Broadway
Hmm.
for so many reasons, and she's won more Tony
Oh,
Awards. So
we're s- we're
we know
still
we'll see her again, and we
we're
love her.
still kicking ourselves. We had tickets. We had tickets to
Uh,
Gypsy, but it was a special moment, and we wanted to see Audra McDonald in the role, and so we withdrew our tickets to look for another date, and then there were no other dates.
uh,
We did see O'Mary instead. I
no,
don't know if it was
no,
conflict.
yeah, no comment.
I know, but we have the soundtrack that we can hope and pray for a pro shot. I mean, why not? This is like,
Well, I'm still waiting to hear that they filmed it. I
yeah.
don't know that they did. I've tried to find out from people that I
You
know, but
wouldn't?
they they have. I would think this would be something they would do,
Yeah,
but no. I
yeah.
haven't heard word. What do you think of Hamilton going to the movie
Theaters?
theaters?
Yeah. I know. We were talking about this in the office today, and I was wondering, first of all, I was wondering who has the rights to do that. Is it Disney?
Uh, Disney with the producers of Hamilton, yeah.
Well,
And
I mean, like, who is it? Just Hamilton's putting it in the theater, or like who's carrying it for them?
oh, I have no idea.
Yeah,
You know,
that's interesting. But yeah, they
and it's a
originally
shame.
wanted it on the big
I
screen.
and it ended up because of the pandemic.
Hmm.
It ended up and because of Disney trying to get people to sign on for their streaming service.
Yeah.
It was put on there. I don't know if it's exactly the same show,
Hmm.
whether they have redone it. Have no idea.
I
Uh,
know.
ha-
Are there
Hamilton
extras?
just Hamilton just had its 10th anniversary,
Yes.
which is spectacular. I just saw the company manager of Hamilton 2 days ago delivering my donations to the Broadway flea market, which takes place on September 23rd, if that is a Sunday. And I'm making sure right now, 21st. Let me
Mm.
correct that. Sunday, September 21st is the Broadway flea market where they shut down West 44th and West 45th Street in front of all those theaters, and they have booths from every union and every show selling leftover merchandise, opening night gifts people don't want,
Hmm.
T-shirts, show jackets, playbills from
I got a
shows
little
from.
change purse from Caroline or Change.
Oh God.
Very clever. This is why we bought
and
them.
and all the money goes to charity, 100% of it.
Yeah.
um,
The
I,
Broadway
I'm ver-
promoter.
I'm very proud of my union at PAM, the Association of Theatrical Press Agents and Managers.
Hmm.
Our table last year raised the most amount of money.
Yeah.
We raised almost $100,000 in one afternoon. Think
Wow.
about that. If you've
Wonderful.
ever done a flea market,
Mm.
and most of our items were $1 to $5,
Hmm.
and we raised $100,000. It's that crowded. We have some amazing things because our members work on all the shows.
Yeah.
So if we worked on a show in 1999 and there were 20 opening night gifts that were never used, they're in the closet that we work in. So we donate it, and now all of a sudden it becomes something that you couldn't get anywhere else.
Yeah.
And that's why it sells so well.
Should we call? Okay, so everyone, we have this new segment or this section. It's called One Singular Sensation.
Uh,
And so, are we going to call this your singular sensation,
no, I still want
or
to
do you
talk
have
about
another
it.
one? You
I
have
still
another
want
one?
to talk about a chorus line.
Okay.
Okay, it's still a chorus line. I will tell you, they're online on YouTube is an illegal taping of a lot of the show that was put on the stage of the Schubert Theater 2 weeks ago when Chorus Line celebrated its 50th anniversary. And it is wonderful. It's chopped up, and it's sometimes somebody's head is in the way, but you can see them explaining at the ballet how that got developed, and out walks the original Sheila, who starts singing it,
Hmm.
followed by, and then they do the whole number. And this is on the stage of the Schubert Theater, which currently houses Hell's Kitchen by Alicia Keys. So, how did they do that? I'm still trying to find out. How did they convince them to say, okay, we're not going to do a Saturday night performance
Mm.
of Hell's Kitchen, and you're going to get to be on our stage and you get to do a chorus line? Again, all the money went to charity,
Yeah, it's a
right?
good cause.
And out comes Donna McKechnie singing Music in the Mirror. She was the original Cassie. And just amazing stuff.
Mm.
And of course, they do the finale with double the size cast. All of this directed and choreographed by Bjork Lee, who is the original Connie in A Chorus Line. So that's my singular signature. I know I talked about it before, but I'm still on a high
Yeah,
from it. It's
it,
still spectacular.
it's a great high to be on. Yeah. I'm going to say that my singular sensation is Fringe Arts. Fringe Arts here in Philly is coming up. It is what, September 4th? It's basically all of September. It's September 4th through the 28th.
Hmm.
The Fringe Guide just came out. It's a it's a big newspaper. You can find it at a bunch of neighborhood partners. One of them is Theater Exile in South Philly. So you can go get your copy, or you can just go online and get the digital version. But there are over 300 productions that are available in the festival.
That's absolutely amazing that there are
Yeah,
300
I
shows in
know.
a month.
And
That is
and
amazing.
and they're all over the city in different neighborhoods. So I think that that's great because you can break it down by neighborhood, you can break down by genre. There's a handful of theater there are a handful of hubs that house a good portion of the productions that are available. And you have to get some kind of list together to keep this all in order. So do that. Like, they even know this because in the back of the guide is a grid for you to keep track of all the shows that you're going to see. And so, very smart, Fringe Arts, did a great job Theater Exile is always glad to continue partnering with them because, our artistic director, producing artistic director, Deborah Block, was a part of the founding group of Fringe Arts. So that's pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so my one singular sensation is Fringe Arts, and you'll see me out there. We'll have some coverage on the Emory podcast.
What?
So
How
check it out.
much? How much are tickets in general?
So tickets are kind of all over the map. There's a lot of free uh, events. There are a lot of pay what you can, where they give you different pay rates.
Hmm.
But I would say everything is mostly under $30.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's great.
they're all very affordable, and um, yeah, it's just there's so much to choose from that you can just sort of stumble into something. Like you could say, I'm free on the 8th. What's going on? And the Fringe is great about sending, here's today's shows, like in their emails. So like, here's everything that's on stage today and stuff like that. They're great team over there. But it's fun. It's so big and so involved that basically the theater community kind of yields to Fringe Arts if they're not a part of it. Like if they don't have a show in it, they're hosting someone who has a show in it. And so it's truly a community effort, and it's so great. And I think it's a great way to open our season. Everybody's on this high from seeing all these different interdisciplinary works that we just go right into everyone else's season. I always think it's a great start.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
But that's it. That's our
Uh,
time for
that,
today. That's the business. That's the business of theater, a working title. I'm Darnelle Radford,
I'm Mitch Weiss.
and we'll see you at the theater.
Yay.